Hello again, Conce. I'm just showing the set on screen now for anybody who wants to copy it, so it's right at the start of the video, but we'll talk about exactly what it's for and what to do with it in just a second. I'll just mention Part Breaker and Heavy Artillery are the two notable skills, because otherwise it's just a standard Frostcraft Greatsword set. So you may have seen that we did a plunderblade run video the other day. It's a nice run for making the Fatalis set without actually having to beat the monster, and that's what we're going for, by the way. We're trying to farm Evil Eyes without necessarily having to be good enough to beat Fatalis. Yeah, the issue with the plunderblade strats is that the Evil Eyes themselves can take on average like an hour to get, and that's if you're average. But if you get unlucky, it can obviously take a lot longer. And I know a lot of people really hate RNG, so I thought what I would do is come up with a slightly more consistent method. One that is free of RNG, that guarantees you the Evil Eye, and obviously for that we're going to go for the 2 horn breaks. Now, getting the 2 horn breaks, the reason I avoided it in plunderblade runs is because it's quite difficult to do, you know? Fatalis has a lot of health. But I've come up with this strategy that's fairly consistent and easy to replicate in my opinion. So the first thing you want to do is pretty typical, just do 3 claw swipes to enrage Fatalis. This gives you an extra 10% damage, gives you like agitated DPS if you have the skills, and I found that the con seems to be a little bit easier to bait out during rage mod. But if you don't like his rage mod AI, feel free to just keep it out of rage mode. Now you can see we stood at a mid range. If you stand around here, Fatalis is much more likely to con, and you can get 2 in a row or even more. You see me get fairly lucky with the cons right at the start. I'm gonna warn you, this luck is about to run out big time. Yeah, the idea is you want to stand at this mid range and just dodge all of Fatalis' attacks. I'm using Evasion Mantle, so I'm trying to dodge through stuff, but obviously you don't have to do that at all, just run out of the way. There's no need to iframe them. This is supposed to be a risk-free method, so while I'm trying to iframe things to get Evasion Mantle procs just to make it a little bit faster, you really don't have to. You just, run out of the way and then run back into the mid-range whenever you possibly can. Yeah, if you stand at this medium range, basically imagine where Fatalis' head would be if it was down. If its head was down, sort of in that kind of location, then Fatalis will be much more likely to use the Cone Breath, which is a easy guaranteed level 3 charge. Now, this run was taken actually quite early from my attempts rather, and that is because later runs I ended up getting like lots of cones in a row. And the thing is, those runs are faster. I've had runs that were like almost below 9 minutes. That's how fast they got. But the problem is, it's not useful if I just show you a run where I got like 10 cones in a row, you know? Because you can't, if you don't get that good, now we're back to basically just hoping for good RNG, you know? And so what I thought I would do is show a run where I get really unlucky with the monster AI. And show that even with terrible cone luck, the sort of luck that you can expect to get during runs. And I just went for a little snipe while its head is on the ground. You don't have to do that, but you can if you want to. Even with terrible RNG, it still only took me something like 11 or 12 minutes to get the guaranteed Evil Eye. And obviously if you get better luck with the cones, you'll do it even faster. So yeah, that's the reason I'm taking this run. So as a result, you'll see me do like weird punishes, like I'll do like a level 3 and then do a level 1 strong charge. Don't worry about any of that shit. If you don't know how to play Greatsword, we're using Frostcraft Greatsword, by the way. You've seen the set right at the start of the video. But yeah, it is a crit draw oriented playstyle. Don't worry about doing any weird punishes, just whenever he cones, do a level 3 charge on the head. So right now, you'll see I probably go for something stupid here. There you go, level 3. You should just roll away now. You shouldn't be doing what I'm doing here, just roll away, because like don't do that stupidness. Just do the level 3 and get out of the way. So yeah, if you don't play Greatsword, don't worry. All you need to know is you hold triangle out of sheath to do the unsheathing attack. And so you just want to charge up level 3s. That's all we're really doing. You'll see me occasionally go for snipes while its head's on the ground. Again, you don't have to do that. It will make it a little bit faster. However, if you're willing to, just wait for it to get up in the air. It's safer and it's easier, but obviously will take a little bit longer. It's not a huge deal as well, because the Novas and the phase changes and stuff, they're linked to a damage threshold rather than like a timer threshold. So even if you take longer just waiting for cones to be baited out, all that means is that the horn break will take a little bit longer to get. You won't have to deal with like bad phases or anything annoying like that. So you can see we stood at mid range. This is why I don't recommend going for that stupid punish. Just do a level 3. Just do a level 3, please. But yeah, so you can see we're baiting out cones not frequently, but every now and then. Unfortunately, he's de-enraged, so I'm going to re-enrage. Again, you don't necessarily have to do this if you don't want to, but it does make things a little bit faster in my experience. And so that's all there really is to it, to be honest. We're going to keep baiting out cones, and then I guess I'll fast forward the footage a little bit until we get to, until he novas and goes into his next phase, and you can see we've got another nice one here. Also, don't worry about tenderizing too much. We're using critical draw for affinity, and the hit zone only changes by like 1, and so it's doesn't really make much of a difference, to be honest with you. So you keep going, fairly typical, standing at a medium-ish range, wait for the cones to come out and keep sniping them. Eventually the head will break, so fairly simple there. Go for your standard punishes while the head is on the ground. I guess this is a good opportunity for me to talk about some other stuff. He will Nova fairly soon. So the Novas are based on a damage threshold. Phase 1 is probably the easiest for baiting out cones in my opinion. So that's the reason you won't see me do things like use the cannons at the start, because those aren't guaranteed to hit the head, and generally speaking, they're going to do a lot of damage like the chest and the wings and stuff, and so he will go into phase 2 sooner. Whereas here, you saw how soon we got the horn break, right? We got the horn break before phase 1 even ended. Whereas if you spend a lot of time using cannons and other kind of things and doing damage to the chest and other parts, he'll probably go into phase 2 before that. And once he goes into phase 2, it can be a lot harder to get cones baited out. But yeah, we'll just fast forward through the Nova. So what you'll see is that I take off my mantle and I do the smoke bomb trick. Or at least I attempt to do it. I saw a speedrunner do this and I haven't quite figured out how exactly it works yet. I'm going to probably lab that tonight on Twitch. Oh yeah, by the way, follow me on Twitch. We did this all live, by the way. We were getting advice from chat and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to use the roaming ballista now on the head to try and just get a little bit more part damage. I get a little bit lucky here with the AI, but don't worry if you don't. It's not really a huge deal. All you got to do is bait more cones for any damage that you miss. But you can see we get a lot of shots on the head. Now, if you get like all of the shots on the head, it's actually possible to... Oh, okay. I forgot about this. 1 second. Alright, so we are back in the area. This just goes to show, by the way, a kite isn't a big deal. A little bit of a time waste, but I mean, it's really not an issue, especially if you're on the special assignment. But yeah, I'm gonna warn you again, we get really, really terrible AI here. I'm gonna speed up the footage, actually. Just a whole bunch of terrible moves in a row. I guess, what else should I say? Don't be afraid to use mantles, obviously. Put on like temporal mantle or whatever. Oh, there we go. Finally a cone. And it's probably going to be a while till we get another one, so we'll go back into fast forward mode. Yeah, as I was saying, we get really bad AI this fight. I did mention it earlier, but basically the reason I wanted to show this off, and by the way, all of my runs are available on my Twitch channel. I'm just cons away on Twitch. Yeah, the VOD will still be up with all of these runs. We did them live, and you'll see the much better runs that I got with the better cone AI. Unfortunately, he's just not using the cone this run. And the reason I wanted to show off this run so much is because we got such bad AI, and despite all of that, plus the additional cart, we managed to get the run done in like 11 or 12 minutes. Part of that is due to the lucky roaming ballista, but obviously if you're any good with aiming the roaming ballista... Oh, also we were just messing around with chat here. I was I was getting really frustrated by this point. Additionally, sorry, don't forget to use the ballista binders if you're struggling. I was trying to not use the binders because my plan was to like do a run and show it off and say, look, this is how you can do it, and obviously you can do the binders for extra DPS if you're comfortable with that. But as you can see, that strategy is not exactly paying off. But despite all of this bad RNG, the run does not take that long at all. And I do like showing off all of this footage because it does give me the ability to like show you exactly how to handle the fight, and the run rather. Yeah, there's a decent amount of good footage here that kind of shows off exactly how you want to handle things. And as you can see, the binder is just a free couple of level 3s on the head. They can be a little bit weird to aim at first, so don't worry if you struggle with it. You should be able to get at least one per binder. There is another binder on the opposite side of the map if you're not aware though. So that was basically 3 cones essentially, because we got 3 openings there. I'm grabbing the other binder now too, just because I am sick to death of waiting. And as you can see, we managed to finish it off with the roaming ballista. What am I doing? I'm not 100% sure. Ah, okay. Oh yeah, I remember now. Anyway, I'm just messing with chat. Yeah. So as you can see, it took us barely sort of 11 or 12 minutes, and we managed to get a guaranteed evil eye from the second horn break. Oh, there we go. 11 minutes and 1 second. It felt a lot longer because of all of the bad AI, but can you imagine how much better this would be if you actually got half decent Fatalis AI? And you saw how easy it was, right? Like, barely any thought had to go into this run. We were literally just standing at mid-range until he can't. Incredibly simple. I know a lot of the commentary here is redundant, but I think it was important to show a lot of footage of me dodging these moves, because when I ask a player to break Fatalis' horns twice, I'm asking quite a lot of them. You might as well finish the hunt at that point, you know what I mean? And so I think it's quite important for me to show off a lot of footage of just how easy this run is, in terms of like you're barely at any risk the entire time unless you do stupid things like I did, which get you carted. Regarding the set, it is a typical Frostcraft Greatsword set. This is really well suited for unsheathing attacks because it's based around crit draw and it gives you a lot of damage to your unsheathing attacks. Yeah, very standard Frostcraft Greatsword set. You have to use 4 pieces of Volcana. If you don't have Frostfang, don't worry, just run like Damascus or something. Frostfang doesn't even help because you can't get a KO. It's just the meta set that I had lying around. And I use Alachion's Greatsword, but obviously feel free to use Light Break or whatever you want. And if you have Fatalis pieces from Plunderblade, for example, you can make the set even stronger than I did. But yeah, that's all I really had to say about the set. But yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully you don't have any other questions, but if you do, feel free to ask them and I'll see if I can help. Yeah, have a lovely day. Take it easy. Bye-bye.